Alright guys, we're going to cover one of Meghan's Invictus game speeches. It's an older one, but we can see the evolution of her speaking. Let's check it out.
Good evening, everyone. It is such an honor to be here tonight, celebrating all of you and supporting my husband in the Invictus Games, which he founded 4 years ago.
So you can see she's drinking it in. She loves the applause. And I was going to say, oh, it's cool that she's saying I'm supporting, but as always, my husband. She never says his name, as many of you have pointed out. I don't think I've seen her ever say the name Harry. But look at her face now. She's just loving this attention.
In that short span of time, the Games have evolved into an international platform of some of the best athletics and sportsmanship you could ever witness, coupled with a camaraderie and close-knit sense of community, which can only be defined as the Invictus spirit.
Again, always the same thing. When she's getting the applause, she looks really happy. When she's talking about herself, she's enthusiastic. But when she's talking about the cause or about something else, it is extremely just by route. She doesn't care, but at least she's not reading off of cards this time.
With that said, and on a very personal note, I just wanted to thank all of you for welcoming me into the Invictus family. I am truly so grateful to be a part of this with each and every one of you. And I'm not sure if many of you know this. Thank you. I'm not sure if many of you know this, but a few years ago, before I had met my husband...
What is she? Oh, is she about to just go into like a story about herself? Again, it's very Wood in the speech, and I found that really funny how she's like, you know, it's very personal to me, all of you. And like the motion, like all of you, like you people. Like it was so dismissive to me. And let's see if she goes into some random story about how great she is. Super quick thing, I met one of you today in the airport. I'll protect her privacy just in case. Her name starts with an M. It was very cool, but let's get back to it.
I had the incredible honor of visiting troops deployed all over the world, from the UK to Italy and Afghanistan and several other countries.
Look at David Beckham. I wonder, this is before the falling out, by the way. This is an older speech. So I think he's already seeing like, gosh, what is she talking about? You know, like, and the thing I notice is when she's talking about that, she's about how she went traveling, she visited them. She's not said anything about those troops she visited, right? It's very consistent with her, which is just giving her resume over and over, even when it's not appropriate. I mean, bragging might be a better word for it.
Traveling to these military bases, I was given a very special glimpse into the lives of those who serve our countries. I was able to see the unshakable bond between servicemen and women on the ground together, but at the same time to feel the palpable longing for family and friends while deployed. Once home, the need for that anchor of support from loved ones.
I wonder, is she reading off of a teleprompter? Right? Like, I don't see the paper, but it's like so, just like, sounds like she's reading off of a paper. Let me look at her body language a little more.
Especially given how much it accelerates recovery and rehabilitation, is immeasurable. I've been reminded of those memories here.
Also, let's keep in mind, what is Meghan Markle doing giving the speech? She has nothing to do with the Invictus Games other than being married to Prince Harry, as far as I understand. So I imagine maybe the troops are like, who's this woman? Why is she talking to us? Why is she giving a speech? But on a technical level, she doesn't vary her tonality at all, which she has the ability to do, because when she's talking about herself and excited, she can be expressive. Or when she's angry, she's very expressive when she's competing. But this, it's totally wooden, and she just looks around kind of randomly. Like, I think when she's not talking about herself and getting the adulation for her, the crowd doesn't interest her anymore. She doesn't really care about the message getting to the crowd. She cares about when they're listening about her and when they're cheering for her. Adulation.
During this year's games in Sydney, I've witnessed the most amazing support networks that surround competitors, and I've had the privilege of meeting several of these family and friends. The Novak family from Chicago is a prime example of this very thing. When their son Ryan suffered a severe injury, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down, doctors said he would never be able to walk again. But after speaking to his mom, Carrie, it was clear that it was through Ryan's strength of spirit and with the unwavering support of his parents that he was able to prove all of those doctors wrong.
I'm just going to say that is so tone deaf and such an awful thing to say in front of a crowd of wounded veterans. Because the thing is, many people, when they become paraplegic or they can't walk, they're not walking again. So many of those people, and it's not like a spirit thing, you know, it's just a very unfortunate thing. So for her to make the story like, oh, he had a miracle, he could walk again, and perhaps if he could not walk again, then he would be a failure. That's the perspective she's taking, right? Because it's a success, they prove the doctor's wrong. I think that'd be hurtful and insulting to the veterans there, who many of them will not walk again. It has nothing to do with their attitude, nothing to do with proving anyone wrong. It's just that right now that technology is far from existing, that a spinal cord, nerve being severed, that you could walk again. So, very tone deaf.
Not only has Ryan
Was that woman in the wheelchair that they just showed?
competed in sailing, swimming, and athletics this week, but when Harry and I saw him at the finish line of the sailing competition, he literally jumped into our boat, with dexterity and ease, by the way, to give both of us a hug.
Look at a lot of these faces in the crowd. It's the same thing. How ridiculous is this? If you actually think about it, how dumb can you be? This is actually the worst thing if you think about it. She talks about sensitivity and hurting feelings, her own feelings. You're with lots of people who are actually wounded and they cannot jump into boats. They're not going to be able to. Some can, some can't. But for her to frame that as the victory and that's what's valuable, it's the most ridiculous, insulting thing ever. Oh man, I hope a lot of you watch this, because this is one of the craziest things yet, and it just popped out of nowhere in that speech. Thanks for watching, everybody. I think she has other Invictus speeches, so if any of you know where they are, I've been having trouble finding them, feel free to link them, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.